Good evening, Leeds, and welcome to the bucket list here on Made in Leeds.
Yes, it's Monday, it's 6:30, and it's time once again for our nightly slice of Leeds life. So stay with us for the next half hour as we meet some of the people who make Leeds the great city it is. Tonight on the bucket list, it's my privilege to introduce you to an entrepreneur who has just recently launched a new business that's already making waves across the country.
Yes, that's right. January is a time for making things, whether it's plans or decisions, and sometimes for remaking things. So we're joined by Donna Fenn, founder of an upcycling website called Remade in Britain. So tell us a little bit. We know what recycling is. What is upcycling, Donna?
Upcycling is where you're actually taking something that somebody's cast aside, finished with, or just changed their mind about, and turning it into something different. So it's giving it a new lease of life. There's lots of words for it: reinventing, repurposing, reusing. Simple as that. Recycling is breaking things down to start from scratch. This is just giving it a refresh.
Yeah, and so Remade in Britain is a website full of retailers who are doing exactly that.
Exactly that, yeah.
So such as who's on there?
We've got about 300 retailers, and it ranges from people doing small crafty sort of things with vintage lace, vintage buttons, old pieces of fabric, to larger scale pieces of furniture, giving them a new lease of life. Lots of lamps, light fittings, from lights made out of Coca-Cola bottles, 7-Up bottles, into stunning lampshades of all great colours, and light lamps made out of motorbike parts, bits from engines, brake discs, camshafts. I think I've got that right.
Fantastic. And we've got some examples of that here. So Ben is one of the retailers on there. Ben, tell me a bit more about your company and what you do, because you've got some, well, you might not necessarily know if you're watching at home right now, you might not be able to tell what these are made from, but these are made from pallets, the kind of pallets you just throw out. A business will throw out a load of them. You make products out of them.
Yeah, so I had a problem last year with disposing of pallets from a printing business, and instead of throwing them away, I decided that I wanted to build all the furniture in our premises using those pallets. So you're literally limited by your imagination. So we built coffee tables, desks, and then coming at sort of Christmas, people were saying, "Oh, you know, we'd quite like to buy your items." So I decided to take it upon myself to start a furniture business. And some of the smaller items you see in front, we've got beer totes, coasters, some names that are just cut out of unwanted timber. And that's kind of where all my products have
fantastic
come
stuff.
from.
So what is it that you've got here then?
So at the front we've got some coasters. That, again, they're just pallet slats that I've cleaned down, taken all the nails out of them, varnished them, sanded them down, and then sprayed a little stag graphic on there.
Not bad, is that? Stags are very much in, I heard.
I love the whole idea though, because not only can you decorate your house in really unique items, but they're perfect for a present, these, aren't they?
Yeah. I mean, I actually gave all my family handmade gifts for Christmas this year, so I didn't actually have to spend anything, but lots of hours of labouring away in the shop, and it made a real difference. People sort of were taken back by it, and I think that can be applied if you buy something that's handmade. It's got that personal touch from somebody. They've put a little bit of love into it themselves, and they're proud of it enough to want to sell it somewhere. That's kind of why I do it.
They're all unique. No one else has got one. That's the nice thing.
Absolutely. Yeah. It looks incredible. Michelle, you're the business manager who works with Donna on Remade in Britain. Tell me, what kind of response have you had so far?
It's actually been really overwhelming. The PR campaign's gone massive, and we're just getting people. Just on Friday, we got called up by Radio York. They wanted to talk to us.
Wow.
Our Twitter followers have gone through the roof, Facebook, everything. The retailers signing on is a lot every day.
So tell us, with the retailers that sign on, are they full-time, or do you have a lot of part-time handmakers? Kind of tell us a little bit more about it.
It ranges from everybody. We've got a lot of people who either by themselves or with their partner run business full time, and then you've got everybody who, like Ben, who runs a full-time business and then does it in their spare time. You've got people who work part-time and maybe just dedicate like Monday and Tuesday to the business. You've got a whole big range of everybody.
How prominent then is, I mean, you know, you three are working hard on this right now, and how prominent is upcycling? I've heard the word, it seems like a bit of a buzzword that you hear once or twice, but you know, what kind of, how many people are
I think
starting businesses?
The word upcycling is quite newish, but I think the whole make, do and mend has been around since you know, the World War II, and I think people are just coming back into that way of thinking now. And I think the products that are on the website just show how active the upcycling community is now and how big. And I just think there's a whole world across Britain who are just like coming out of the, the woodwork to literally, to say, right, look at this little business I've got going, and what we can do. We're giving them a platform to show what they're doing, because not everyone can afford to get a website presence up and going. And just by having a little shop with us, it's just fantastic. I think that's why it's been so well received, because the community is so excited about what's happening across Britain.
I'm very much pleased for you. Very glad to have you here in the studio, and especially to see these. I really want to keep one of these.
Valentine's Day coming up, you never know. You must have some great Valentine's gifts
definitely. Everything you from canvases and wall art made of like vintage buttons and lace, all the way through to, I said, lots of things from like reclaimed scaffold. We've got a great selection of men's gift, which are alternate, which I'm definitely going to tap into myself.
Some little cufflinks made out of circuit
they're
boards,
fantastic.
Quirky
and Xbox buttons and all sorts of that have been created.
Wow. And you've got something exciting happening in 2015.
We've got so much planned for this year. We really want to develop the supplies and salvage side. So like Ben, has a source for pallets. We want to be able to advertise pallets for people to come and take things, all things like that. So it's like marrying the upcyclers and supplies. We're also, fingers crossed, talking to Grand Designs, Kevin McLeod is so behind upcycling. So he's quite keen to chat to us, and we're actually going tomorrow to kind of pitch, us having an area.
I thought this was this week.
He's not there tomorrow. He's not there tomorrow. It's just one of his minions tomorrow.
Well, it's fantastic to have you here with us. Now, from one set of crafty people to another, Men in Sheds is a project supporting older men to build skills and socialise with one another.
Men in Sheds started originally in the 1990s. The Australian government wanted to know why men were dying younger than women and why the male suicide rate was a lot higher. So rather than try and solve that, they first had to try and find a way to talk to these men about their issues. So they decided, let's create a shed, something that most men like and can associate with. We'll create these community sheds, and men can come to us to have a go at practical activities, and then if they feel like it, they can start talking about their health issues. And so from there, there's now 2,000 sheds in Australia. There's 200 in Ireland, and we're up to about 100 sheds in the UK at the moment, and this Leeds shed is the only one in West Yorkshire.
You get people coming into the shed, joining us Men in Sheds, and they've had no experience in woodwork before, but then there's other people who had about 30 years of woodwork experience. So for those who have no experience, it's great to go up to them and say, how are you doing? And give that kind of help to them and make sure they're okay, that they're doing what they need to do.
Some of the guys that turn up to the shed, the majority of them are retired because they can come during the week. So we've got some ex-engineers who are really good with metalwork, so we're kind of trying to convince them that wood's better. We have some guys that turn up that are out of work at the moment, so we're trying to give them some skills and basically give them some confidence to go back out and try and find a job. We have some guys that have learning difficulties, mild learning difficulties, so we're helping them to do some basic skills and just getting them out into the community, and feeling positive. It makes you feel really proud to create something, and then everyone enjoys what you've done. It makes you feel good about yourself.
I was made redundant from what I call my proper job before I retired, so I ended up looking for something to fill in while my retirement age came up at 65, and I ended up working in security, and that's how I ended up working with Mick.
More or less retired with an assessor certificate, which more or less makes me master carpenter. But I don't want to lose them skills. That's another reason why I'm here.
My background is, I started off in telecoms, went into mechanical engineering, ended up as a group training officer for a number of companies in Hereford. Had a heart attack, retired early, and eventually moved up to Leeds, where I'm enjoying myself.
The project's just aimed at men because we want to talk to men. Some men will only talk in an all-male environment, so we create this environment to try and support men with any problems.
The best thing about it is it makes sure depression doesn't set in. It keeps me too busy. As long as I'm busy, my mind's active, it's working perfect. It's when I'm sitting doing nothing that I start getting depressed, I'm not used to sitting down. I have to be doing something all the time. That's about it.
You meet people, we have the crack, we have Bit of banter. A lot of banter.
I have a shed at home, but down here, which with a lot of other people, we're at home, I'm working on my own shed. But down here, working with all these lads, and we have a bit of a laugh and all get ideas off each other, you know, different things. Great, isn't it?
As much as anything else, it's the social side, I think. I mean, I've got a workshop at home where I can sit and work for hours, but I'm on my own. Here, you know, we can have a chat, have a cup of tea, whatever. And it's the company, which is the thing, of course, you miss when you leave work.
We've been going for a year now, and it's grown in popularity. We've got about 25 members, so we're really excited, and we really want more men to attend so we can keep it growing. The issue we have is actually finding the men to come down to the shed, because they're not the kind of chaps that are in the community already. So we're trying to reach through family members, through daughters, granddaughters, to get their older relatives down to the shed, because they will love it.
Well, that's all for the first half of the show.
Join us after the break as we catch up with Tom Wright, the star of a brand new show coming to Made in Leeds this week. See you in a bit.